So happy Taurus new moon. We are just past the peak. We are feeling the vibe. I brought the vibe. I brought like all of the colors that I could bring because Taurus is all about the beauty and our sensuality and really our psychic connection and our intuition. We are in the goods now. Like we are in the abundance arrival, especially when you've been tapping in and doing the work. Just before we jumped on the call, Haven brought something up and she said she was so glad she found some spaciousness in her schedule to pop on here. And I want to talk about that because right now she's there, she's in the Soul Biz Streamline container. And in that container, we're really diving into mindset transformation. Because when we get to the deep layers in those programmed and conditioned mindsets that we're always absorbing in the energy around us, we actually find the deepest place of liberation. We realize that we're the ones that have all the innate tools within us to create the transformation of our whole reality. We are not stuck in anything. That's so important to drop into. You know, I had this, my first real therapist was when I was in college and I was having these nightmares, and I ended up getting paired with the head of the therapist network of the college. And she changed my life, and it's just coming in right now. It's weird. I haven't thought about this in years and years and years. And she changed my life by helping me to understand that I had a choice in everything about my life, because I was going through some difficulty with my parents at the time. And when I found that empowerment, like, oh, I get to choose to stay here. I get to choose to stay in this relationship. I don't have to. I'm not forced to. That created a liberation. And it also created a space for deep healing within the relationship. Because when we feel like we're forced into something, a mindset, a relationship, whatever it is, then we have that resistance that comes up. You are consciousness. You are far beyond this body and what's coming at you in the physical world. And when you come back to that, which is this beautiful Taurus new moon, when you come back to that, you get that 0-point activation and all possibilities. I just get this like blooming flower. All possibilities come from that. So I want you to just drop in with yourself and feel if you're working against something or you're working for it or with it or in it. This feels like in the collective, the highest elevation that we have ever been on the tail end of an eclipse. Give me a nod if you agree with me. Yeah, so usually we're still working with eclipse energies for the next 6 weeks and the next 6 months. I feel the transformation already like taking root. It's rooted in so deeply because we're at the end of the Taurus Scorpio axis. So we're getting the integration, right? When we were in the other eclipses, the beginning eclipses of the, gosh, those were the deep excavations in our resources and the depths of like connection with another and what are our resources, right? And so there's a few astrological points that are happening today that I want to talk about. They're so sweet. They're really magical, but we also have to have an awareness with them to work with them instead of having them kind of work on top of us. Does that make sense? So let me know in the chat if you are you feeling abundance showing up in your life? Are you feeling manifestation coming yet? I say yet because it's coming. And do you believe it's coming? I would just love to know where you're at with that. Have you gone through in this eclipse season a scarcity transformation? Because especially in the Scorpio lunar eclipse, that was bringing up the depth of scarcity with another. Scarcity with money, scarcity with another person in a relationship, where it could have been, if we go back through our lineage and our lines, it could have been, especially as women in our matriarchal line, those women that were forced into a connection or a partnership to have resources. That feels to me like what we've been uncovering and working with and healing And as we keep healing that for the collective, it's just going to keep emanating out. Now, I know we all have different experiences with our lineage. I just feel that in the Scorpio, like that's a core signature of Scorpio, of our resources that are connected with another. And then we move right into all this Taurus energy where it's resources with ourself. So after that, after we go through this huge, like, it's like opening up and like, whoa, my spirit was blown as that was coming up. I was like, I feel it so deeply. And that's when I knew I was led to go through that launch transformation, not for the outcome, not for like how much money I needed to run my business and live my life, not for how many people I needed to be in the container. I did it to work deeply with those imprints of scarcity and money coming up and how I felt about money and that I believe in money. So then we go right into all this beautiful Taurus energy that takes us into, okay, here's the transformation of that story that's been imprinted in your cells, that belief, that feeling that's been imprinted in your cells. Now you get to come in with this magical Taurus space that fills the cells up as they've been opened from that imprint, fills the cells up with, you have the inner resources within. When you find that alignment, when you're in alignment, you have all the energy, you have all the time, you get exactly what needs to be done. You get to move and flow. You have the days off, you have the rest. We're no longer having to stay in that narrative of pushing with deadlines, because when we drop into this flow, the deadlines, no matter where they are, will be met. I have been living it. And I just would love to know if y'all have been having, moving through some kind of energy in that signature as well. So absolutely, mostly with my decision makings, I'm being super abundant with making healthy choices for me. Versus being pulled back into old patterns. I'm abundant in breaking old patterns. Yes, the abundance. This is the thing. When you think of abundance or feel into abundance, what is it? Are you just looking at money? Because that's a pattern we have to actually break. Because in our generational lines, that's literally what they had to think of for survival, right? And so when we get into the full array of abundance, where Sarah's saying, like, breaking those old patterns and finding the abundance in that liberation, that's when all of it comes in, because it's holistic. It's not just one construct, because money is one construct. But when we come into the inner resources and the abundance that we have within, following our nervous system and our softness actually creates more production. It's just incredible. It's like, I'm, again, spirit blown. It feels so good. This energy to me feels like we're lifting up into the expansion and the transcendence, where we're realizing that the manifestations, now that they're starting to trickle in, pour in, however it is, they will be there when we stay in a place of trust and when we keep dropping in whatever it is that comes from those places of alignment and inspired action. And first and foremost, we do need to, if there's still, I like that Haven uses the word stickiness. If there's still stickiness in those mindsets, we really do need to look at it, because that's where the liberation comes. And then as we've been this is huge, y'all. Today is huge for our collective, the destiny of our collective, because as the collective, we have been pouring this in, the ripple effect is happening. And as it just becomes more and more normalized, that we rest, that we come to the stillness, that we take that time away and get to nature and listen, that we get out of the immediate gratification and we just hold the energy and we just kind of let it be in our field and trust that the answer is going to come through, the more everyone else is going to tap into that. And the more our systems are going to change, and it's not going to be the dominant narrative. So I'm just so proud of y'all. Like, these are the times. Really revel in this, really be in a place of appreciation and enjoy it. Like, let yourself do the thing that creates beauty and the best feeling for you without guilt, without shame. Go do it and enjoy it, right? Basically the world of Taurus that's coming through in the 11th house. And the 11th house is our galactic connection. This is about higher technology. It's about our innate wisdom and our innovation from that wisdom. And this is where we are really dropping into our soul's language. We're disrupting and dismantling the linear programming. And that linear programming comes through energy, but it also comes through words. And when we make bigger this sensory system that we have, it just shines and it stays in that aligned place and it stays in that connection so much deeper, no matter what the words are around us. That's that transcendence. And that's what a place that takes us into unity consciousness, where we can really honor that every human here is in a different frequency at all times. We're so unique, and their unfolding path is theirs to have. It's not ours to control, right? And so when we can realize that whatever's emanating out from others around us is coming from experiences and imprints that are showing up for them and their readiness to be available for the transformation or not, that's when we rise into that unity consciousness and we can be in a deep state of love frequency without the need to have power over, right? We can empower from, and from that place of empowerment in our light, they're going to automatically start to have shifts and transformations without the words. We don't need the words. So that's why I love all of this Taurus energy in the 11th house right now. And I've seen it deeply, what's happening with social media in the scarcity that we just went through, the scarcity transformation, and all of these people and big names that have been launching. Like I am a part of the collective. This is how it happens. They're all learning through the launches as well. But I watched them go from social media into, this is important, into affiliate marketing. So this shows where we're going in the age of Aquarius. Like it's happening because Pluto's in Aquarius. And so when you see it on the greater good, it's just like, what? It's totally happening because affiliate marketing is lifting the community up. It's when I have a program, and if you bring somebody into my program, I'm offering you a piece of that. I'm offering you a gift from that. I'm offering you, even money from that, whatever it is. And so then that's lifting everyone up in the community, right? The person that's coming into the program is going to have deep transformation. You have affected them by bringing them in. And then this, you're helping to support somebody's small business. And then from that small business, you're giving somebody a gift, something that they would not have had otherwise in their linear path of what they see for money. You see where I'm going with this? How beautiful to see it play out on such a grand stage last week. I was just like, what? It's totally just sweeping through the collective. And there's so many people that don't know that that's what they're doing. I had a meeting and I was talking about this and she was like, tell me more, because that's exactly what we did in our launch, right? It's just keep talking about what's inside and you're going to get the confirmation of your innate knowingness. You're going to get the confirmation of your intuitive hits. And the more you confirm it, the more you trust it, and the more you're going to live from it. It's just so big. It's so amazing. So we've got a grand fixed cross between the nodes. And thank you, Sarah. Sarah says brilliant. Between the nodes, Pluto and Mars. And just, I want you to have an awareness with this, because with a grand fixed cross, fixed energy can be stubborn, right? A fixed energy can kind of hold their ground until a crisis point. So we have to have an awareness about that, because what we can do is transform that fixed energy from resistance into persistence. You feel those two words and the vibration of those two words? So when we go into persistence, we can use persistence for flow. We can use persistence for transformation. We can use persistence to keep accessing the highest frequency of the energies that we're working with. And with that, we're working with Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Mars is in Leo. Let's enjoy the hell out of Mars being in Leo, right? After that Mars Gemini and even the Mars Cancer, let's have fun with this. Mars is about how you take action in your world, how you go forth, how you create. So let yourself play in this Leo energy. Leo energy is all about shining, just sharing just to share, right? Without expectation of what's coming back in. I've been playing with this in my social media with the launch, and I have totally been disrupting that need for the validation on the other side. And I've just been playing with just, oh, I've got something, putting it out because I'm in this place of alignment. So I'm like, oh, put it out and just trust that if it's 5 people that found the message, those 5 people absolutely needed that message, right? So we're getting out of like this deep connection that social media really put a hold, almost put shackles on us about this feedback loop that we needed from it. And now we get to just play with it and have fun. And when you get into that transcendent place and you realize, oh, there's so many other ways I can bring in abundance, like what I talked about with affiliate marketing, then you're not so constricted in this one way. And this isn't just for work. This can be with anything, with love, with friendships, with new friendships, with soul connections, with locations, right? With whatever's happening in your world. Really let yourself drop into this because it's available in every way right now. It's just so exciting. Okay. So then I also want to talk about, this is important, the T-square that's happening between Mars, Pluto, and Jupiter. Jupiter just entered Taurus. So it's at 0 degrees of Taurus. Big deal. It's a big deal. So this is like where all of the unknown potential and possibility lies, which is where our magnificence lies. When we move beyond that and we start creating stories and programs in our life, we get further and further away from that, what I talked about before, that 0 point activation. And then we start believing those stories and we start creating that like that's who we are. So let's really let ourselves drop into the beauty of this 0 degrees in Taurus. This is where you get to be the intuitive, telepathic, psychic self that you never believed that you were, right? You believed it like other people, you believed it for other people, but you didn't believe it for yourself. So let yourself be in that because that's exactly what's bubbling up and trying to come through. And if you're not allowing it in your consciousness, it's coming through your dreams. So I want you to be paying attention to your dreams right now, because then you're going to be like, whoa, these are big, right? And then when you believe it in your dreams, you're going to believe it more in your consciousness. Sarah, thank you. Sarah says, wow, brilliant. So awesome. I'm getting such a yes on this, y'all. That's why if you feel like I'm levitating, I feel like I'm levitating. Like this energy is so freaking on. And again, I'm just going to say it again. It's because all of you have been doing the work. You've been showing up. This is what humanity is really about. It's not about, sitting there in the grind, because the grind doesn't have to be there when it's this. And we keep expanding it more and more and more. It's just so yummy, isn't it? Okay, so that T-square, Mars, Pluto, Jupiter. Mars is in Cancer, Pluto in Aquarius, Jupiter in Taurus. These are all around 0 degrees. The only one that isn't, Mars isn't at 0 degrees right now, but it's close. So when we have a T-square, what we really want to do is actually look at the energy that's not activated. And that's how we activate the full T-square. So the energy in that T-square that's not activated is Scorpio, even though it kind of is because we have the South Node in Scorpio. So let's just talk about this because I feel this like this is very aligned. So when we activate Scorpio right now, which is what's happened in this eclipse energy, we go into the deep place of transcendence, right? We go into the emotional metamorphosis. That's what I keep getting. It's like this butterfly, cocoon to the butterfly metamorphosis, or the ashes to the phoenix metamorphosis of the scarcity, the generational scarcity that was coming up, of, the expectation loop, like whatever it is, let yourself revel in the depth of that emotional transformation and live from that. Live from the experiences that we've had into the full vibrancy of what they've brought. Yes, that's where I'm going with that. Because last night I was taking my little psychic bath. I love those, and that's where I get some of the biggest downloads. And I did not plan on posting what I posted on social media. I rarely even talk about this on social media anymore. And I posted one of the most heartfelt, deep, like emotional posts that I've had in a long time, because it was about my grief journey of 10 years, right? And I was like, oh, I can't believe this is coming out. And I put it out. And that's part of that emotional metamorphosis. Like, let yourself be in the depth of it, because now I live from the transformation of it. I live from the knowledge and the liberation that has come from those experiences. And I can talk about them in the liberation. Even though while I was posting it, I had tears streaming down my face. They're tears of joy. They're tears of heartache. They're tears of like me being fully alive in this body. And that's what I feel. So that's where we really want to go with this T-square. So if you feel like you're hesitating and not letting yourself go really deep into something that you've been through, when you can come back to it and realize that you've been through it for your soul's medicine, and you can still feel the depth of that connection or even the pain, but you can also be in the liberation of it and be in the like unique unfolding of it. There it is. That's what's really activating this T-square. So want to talk about that. And then just real quick, because we love these. We have some really amazing trines and sextiles. Trine between Saturn and Mercury and Pluto. Trine between Saturn and the South Node and Jupiter and Mercury. Was that Saturn? I can't even read my writing. Sextile between the Sun and Moon and Mars. Sextile between the Sun and Saturn and Mercury and Jupiter in the North Node. So sextiles and trines, they just bring really elevated energy. Sextiles, usually we need to do something to activate them, but trines, they just bring that lightness and just harmonious energy for us to work with. So Saturn is in a very harmonious aspect at this time, and Saturn is like, what's our physical mastery here? This is, y'all, I mean, you can't make this up, right? This is the physical mastery in our psychic language, in our psychic truth, in our innate knowingness, which is Saturn in Pisces. So that's like Taurus, all of the Taurus, the Jupiter and Mercury in Taurus are conjunct the North Node, and Saturn in Pisces working in these harmonious aspects are all like, yes, you get simple, find beauty, get the answers. There it is. Like, that's the formula, right? Find the softness. Keep being guided by the softness in your body. Stop staying in the resistance. We've been we've been drug into the resistance so deeply, right? And it's like, I almost have to laugh at it, because this formula is just like, it's so light and bright and easeful, right? And for generations and generations, they just kept doubling down on what did not feel good and self-sacrificing themselves. So let yourself just feel wildly good today and activate that in your cells, imprint that in your cells, and take that to every area of your life. Okay, I know that was a big astrology talk, but y'all, the astrology is huge and we are absolutely in it. It's divine, it's exquisite.